Now, with utmost respect, we are inviting our lineage Guru, His Holiness Living Buddha Liensheng Grandmaster Lu, to give a Dharma teaching. Let's join our palms with reverence. And first, let's pay homage to the lineage Gurus, to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, to Master Sakyat Kong, the Dorje Rinpoche, to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and Master Dukden Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar, and homage to the main deity of the grand ceremony today, Vajrakilaya. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and spiritual centers, all disciples present here and watching over the webcast, and our special, very special guests today from the guests from the Toronto Mahavihara Society, the Venerable and from the Scarborough Toronto City Hall, we also have Councillor Michael Thompson and his assistant Mr. Ihor Wans. And we also have the special assistant to the Honorable Jing Karijianis, Mr. Nick Mantas, the Consul General of Sri Lanka, Mr. Karuna Ratna Parana Vitana, and from the Naraka Health Center for Mind Body Wellness, the Chief Spiritual Officer, Mr. and Mrs. Hemawadoma, and especially from Toronto Mahavihara Society, let me try to, hopefully I say it correctly. The most respectful, the Venerable Ahangama Ratana Siri. I'm sorry, I hope I say it correctly. And they make notes according to the Chinese phonetics here, so sorry if I mispronounce it. And also another respected Venerable Denny Pitiye Sumaratana. Thank you for coming. And also from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Toronto, the Director General Nicholas Hong. And from Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Toronto, the Secretary Tai. Also from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Toronto, the Cultural Center, the Deputy Director O. And from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Houston, the wife of the Director General Liao, Mrs. Judy Liao. And from the Global Federation of Chinese Businesswomen, the Executive Advisor, Ms. Sophia Ching. And from the Canadian Chinese Cuisine Association, the Chairman, Mr. Michael Liao. And from the CTI television in Taiwan, Mr. Bekasu. And the photography, Tony Chow. So Simu had said earlier about Master Lien Xiong, the abbot, that one night Master Lien Xiong and a few other masters and also the wife of Master Lien Xiong, the previous wife, now has been ordained as Reverend Lien Jing. And Master Lien Han, Master Lien Hui. We were having dinner because they are immigrating to Toronto, Canada, and I kept thinking that there is no temple in Toronto, in this such big city, yet in many other cities we do have two Buddha temples. And Toronto is the biggest city in Canada. How could it be possible that we don't have any true Buddha temple? So when Master Lien Xiong, which is Master Lien Hua Zhang Xiong, was helping with the construction of this temple, and I thought that if he wanted to take the leadership, then it would definitely succeed. That he would do a great job, and he doesn't have to do fundraising even. He could just have his supporters, and we already said it that he would find a way. And he had experience in construction, and he knew how to develop real estate. So like this kind of temple, he knew that it can be done in 2 years. So here, this is led, guided, and done personally by Vajra Master Lien Xiong, together with many other fellow disciples from Hong Kong and here from Toronto and locally, and other volunteers together to finish and build this temple. And each of this statue here is 2 tons. It weighs 2 tons. It's made of bronze, and it would last for thousands of years. It will not be destroyed. They're all made of bronze. And it's gold plated, and they all look different. And they all look very beautiful and powerful. So like Master Lien showed, that in 2 years he just blow a breath and it's done. At that time, I was in Seattle at the Marriott Hotel, at the restaurant in Marriott Hotel in Redmond. We had dinner and I asked Master Lien Xiong to take on this task. And I finally let down off this stone in my heart about this issue, and immediately the light is radiated. And I give the name Jing, Yin. Yin is like a seal. With one seal, it's done. And it turned out to be right. Now, in Canada and America, this is the biggest true Buddha temple. It's this Jing Yin temple. He never did any public fundraising. This is quite incredible. And they never asked for donation or anything. And they just told us the news that it's about done, it's about time for the opening, and we can organize the grand ceremony, and we would like to invite you to give Dharma teaching here. So I was shocked as soon as I entered into this hall. Wow! And Master Lien Wang, as soon as he saw this, he immediately became very powerful. So this is the true color of a hero. So he can get anything done, and he does what he says. He never complained about problems, that he's lacking money, that he doesn't have enough people, or encounter any difficulties. He never said anything about that. With the breath, it's done beautifully in 2 years. And that's hard to accomplish in North America, as you know. It's just to request for the permits and design and city halls and county and anywhere. So this can be done only with the help of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas and good people. So Simu said earlier that Master Lien Xiong was incredible, but I say it's not only incredible, but he's more than incredible. It's incredible. Okay, Master said it up backward, which means that he could build this temple. He could have built this temple laying down. So it's incredible. So with just closing his eyes and then with an opening of the eyes, it's done. But quietly, there are lots of things being done. Actually, he also encountered a lot of obstacles, obstructions, and difficulties, but they are all overcome. So this morning, the clouds made a form of a rabbit and the form of a dragon, and from the mouth of the dragon there is the sun, and then around the sun there are two circles of rainbow light. And when I saw that, that's the sign of auspiciousness, of radiance. So the establishment of this temple, even the heavens show the good sign. And this means that this temple will continue to flourish for the countless future. And anyone cultivating at this temple will reach sagehood. We will have many sages out of this temple. So I would also like to thank many disciples from Hong Kong, like Dharma Sister Wang, Dharma Sister Lin for their help, Dharma Sister Zhuanzi. And there's also a Dharma sister who donated all the flooring of this temple, and also the walls. All the materials for the walls and the floors were donated by this Dharma sister. So I wish them well, Master Lin Xiong, and many volunteers, many sponsors, and we hope that they would increase their fortune, their lifespan, their wisdom, their virtues, their merits. They would increase all of them. I also wish them that they would have attainments in their spiritual cultivations. And today, I would like to briefly introduce Vajrakilaya. In Chinese, it's called Phurpa Jing. In Tibetan, it's called Dorje Phurpa. His body is deep blue, and he's with 3 heads, like this Kila or this Phurpa, as you can see, 3 heads, and each face has 3 eyes. And the right head is white, representing Manjushri and Vajrasattva, representing all the Buddhas. So Dorje Phurpa has 6 arms, 4 legs, and 2 wings, and he's the restful form of Vajrasattva. And he is referred as the Kama Heruka. And his left head is Amitabha, is red, representing Amitabha, and Hayagriva. And at the center, the head is blue, representing Mahastama and also Vajrapani. So these three represent the body, speech and mind. So three bodies. So Yamantaka, Hayagriva and Vajrapani. So three wrathful deities. And Yamantaka is the manifestation of Samantabhadra Tathagata. We know that in Buddhism there are three great bodhisattvas. One is Manjusri Bodhisattva, and we refer to him as the most wise bodhisattva. And second is Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, which is the most compassionate, and Vajrapani or Vajrasattva Bodhisattva, which is one with the greatest Dharma power. So three bodhisattvas combined together would become Vajrakilaya or Dorje Phurpa. Because Hayagriva represents Kuan Yin, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and Yamantaka represents Manjusri Bodhisattva, and Vajrapani represents Mahastama. Represent the Dharma power, the great power of the Buddhas. So the wrathful Vajrakilaya would be able to subdue the demonic forces who counter compassion, and then we can gain peace and ease and happiness. So Dorje Phurpa, because they are worrying for the sentient beings. So Vajrapani entered into Vajrakilaya and become Vajrakilaya. So Vajrakilaya. So Guru Padmasambhava was also once subdued Vajrakilaya. So Padmasambhava also transformed to become Vajrakilaya. So when Guru Padmasambhava entered into Vajrakilaya, then it would become Guru Kilikilaya. And the one that's on the ceremonies, on the cemeteries, because originally he was the king of the ghosts at the cemeteries. He was in charge of the cemeteries, and he was actually a Phurpa or a killer. So there's no difference between Vajrasattva, Vajrapani. They're just different manifestations of the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, and they can break all the demonic forces and obstructions, the Mara obstructions, and also eradicate all the karma for many lives. The mantra is So it's very easy to attain spiritual response if you do this practice, in this Dharma practice. The Tantric Yoga means spiritual response, which you have yogic response. Then you would be like this deity, and you would increase your Dharma power, and you can help all sentient beings to subdue all the demons, the maras, the evil forces, and would increase your own radiance, and that would make you attain the great work and also the great job of delivering sentient beings. So I would like to say that Grandmaster Lu this name Sangyen Lu is actually quite known. Although I'm not totally unknown, but I cannot say that I am great and famous. I cannot say that. I'm just a small and unimportant and humble, because in the eyes of many people outside, they think that I'm great. Of course I don't care. So how would you say that people also, I'm just a small potato. Sangyen Lu is just a small potato. With a blow of breath, he would be flown away, and with a press of a finger he would be dead. Prior to coming here, there was a most famous black magician from Malaysia, and if he could prevent Grandmaster Lu to come here and give Dharma teaching, he would be able to receive tens of thousands dollars. So he shot 2 arrows on my legs at the back of the knees, and they nailed 2 nails there, and one on my neck and one on my brow. So it's like the Jiangziya of the Feng Song legend. It's like the 7 nails, that's the black spell or curse that's done on someone. That person that was cursed would have to lay in bed for 7 days and nights. So I'm very fortunate that I can make it here today. the black magic, the curse was done by someone in Malaysia, and I believe that Vajrakilaya helped me. And after completing the ceremony, I expelled all the black magic or the curses that were on my body. This is true. I'm not making it up. The curse could make you faint or be in a coma that you could not use your legs. And then there was also on my neck and head. So it's like your whole body was being nailed down and you could not move and you would be in a coma. But today I'm still here and giving Dharma teaching. So that's through the help of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Golden Mother. And thank God I was a Christian a long time ago. So thank God. And there was a Christian group that's the oldest there in Taiwan. So now I would also like to thank God, which in Chinese translated to the like master, and I have many masters. God was and continues to be, and also all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Because I had many beliefs before, and now I focus on Tantric Buddhism. They all had helped me. They had helped me. I'm also grateful to God. I don't differentiate among them. Yama King, Jesus, and all the saints, they all have helped me, and I don't differentiate among them. That's my belief. But only that I focus my spiritual cultivation on tantric practices. I know how to recite the Rose Sutra when I meet a Catholic. For Christians, I was a Bible study teacher. And I know how to baptize or to give blessings because I was almost in the seminary. There were several seminaries in Taiwan. There were 3 of them. So today, this deity, Vajrakilaya, specialized on dispelling all the black spells and curses, was the head of the cemeteries. So by reciting a 100,000 times the mantra, and then you set up a Phurpa shrine like this, in a bowl of rice and place the purba or kila on it. This is his altar. And then you make offerings to him in order to dispel all the curses. The secret is the wilted leaf or needle pine that had fall off the tree from the cemetery, that's 7-inch long, and then you do the fire offering homa, and then you write the name of that black magician on this leaf of needle, pine needle. Whoever. So they are in karma, they are black karma and white karma. From the lunar calendar, from the 1st to the 15th is white karma, and 16 to 30th day is black. So for the last half, and there's the true day, business dispelling day, and then you perform the fire offering, and then you throw this pine needle or this wilted leaf to the wire and the offerings, and make the offerings to Vajrakilaya, and then all your spells and black curses would be resolved or dispelled. So there are good people on earth, there are bad people, evil people, there's some neutral people as well. So for the good people to protect themselves from the evil people, you go to the cemetery, you try to find a fallen leaf that's 7-inch long, and then paint it white, and then write the name of the enemy or the black magician. So anyone that wanted to harm you, and then they all would be able to be dispelled. So isn't this good? People who work, sometimes they encounter bad boss. So if you write the name of your bad boss, and then you throw it to the homa fire, and all of a sudden his heart was softened, and then he found you to be not bad and would increase your salary, promote you. His heart would become soft. So there is this way to soften other people's hearts, so we don't harm others. It just resolve the harms that's inflicted upon you and all the calamities that you have to suffer in the human world. So you can rely on Vajrakilaya homas to resolve this bad lucks or disasters. This purba or kila also has the power to bardo deliver, because he was the chief of the cemeteries. So when you brought back a handful of sand from the cemetery and you place it here and you recite 100,000 times of the mantra on the first half of the lunar month, and go to the cemetery or the the tombs of your ancestors. So the sand that you take from the cemetery and you recite it 100,000 times, and then you sprinkle the sands on the tombs of your ancestors, and they would appear, and then they would rise above to the heavens. So all your ancestors would go to heavens. So any burial places that you spray or that you sprinkle the sands, they would rise to heavens or be reborn in the Pure Lands. So you need to get sand from the cemetery and place it on your altar. And at the same time you make offerings to Vajrakilaya and recite the mantra for 100,000 times. So recite it this way until you reach 100,000 times to empower the sand from the from the cemetery, and then you can sprinkle it on any burial place, whether you know them or not. They all would be reborn to the Pure Land. And you would also increase your own merits, because all these beings would become your supporters in the future. And in the future you would have the attainment of the great powers of Vajrakilaya. If you want to gain great power, you use this birth deliverance Dharma practice and use the sands and on all these beings, and they all would help you. It's quite meaningless to go to heavens. Sometimes, think about it. Sometimes you ask someone, come on, let's have a drink. No. Come on, let's have a cigarette. No. Then let's play some poker cards. No, I don't do that. What do you do? For fun. Let's go dancing. No, I don't dance. What else? Do you gamble? No. What else? Well, in that case, what do you live for? It's meaningless. You should be. Who is the richest person in Taiwan now? You don't know. Who? The Thai family or the Wang family were wealthy people, and Ge Thai mean if you do this practice, in the future you would become Ge Thai mean. So this method, if you go to the cemetery and get some sand and then recite 100,000 times of the mantra, and then you go to all the cemeteries and sprinkle on them, and then you either would become a rich man or a president. And it's pretty good to be a president. Why? Because in the past life, if you've done this, So it's like a vote, electoral vote. So they become your supporters. So you would get lots of votes. And they would ask others to come with them. One person may bring 1,000 people. So do you know why I have so many disciples? That's how it was. Do you know where I did this practice? I was a survey engineer before in the past in Taiwan. And I was a lieutenant major in survey engineering department. And it's called the Survey Engineering College. So, and the headmaster is Chiang Kai-shek. So at that time, we had the observatory at the very high place. This is not considered confidential. Most people would know. So all these different places in Taiwan. So I went there to do surveys. I went to there. I have to ask a Taiwanese. There was a cemetery around the area, and I did my practice at midnight there. And the practice that I did is the practice to become wealthy and noble. And you can order bardo deliver, and you set up the altar at the cemetery, and you place the 5 offerings of incense, lamb, fruit, tea, and incense. And then you recite the mantra 100,000 times. And at dawn, prior to dawn, at the ceremony in Taiwan, there were lots of dews, and I take that dews and place it in my eyes. Then you would be able to see ghosts. So as soon as you put it in your eyes, the ghosts appearing, and you can see them flying. And then you told them, by reciting this mantra, I am the head of the cemetery, Vajrakilaya. I command all of you so that I would become rich and noble. So when the ghosts appear, the translator did not understand Taiwanese, she only understand Mandarin. So you can buy lots of cookies And when you see a ghost, you recite this mantra, and then you throw this cookie at the ghost. So whenever you see a ghost, and then you just give the cookie, and then you just give the cookie to them, one by one, by reciting the mantra at the same time. And then you tell them, please give me lots of riches and lots of status, nobility. Let me be seated at the center and at the highest place. You gave the greatest command. Everyone should listen to my command. So you tell all these ghosts, and the ghosts will become your supporters in the future. If you open a shop, anyone walking by, they would walk into your shop. Even when your items are already moldy, and everybody still want them. Even when they're fake items, these people still want them and pay and leave. And then when they got home, they realized they bought bad things. And then you can place a notice that nothing is non-refundable. So if you do business, you would earn a lot of money. Or if you become an office official, then you would be promoted. So this is the Dorje Phurpa Dhamma practice to get rich, or Badu deliverance, or dispelling the black spells. These are the 3 secret Dhamma practices. But there are some key secrets or pith instructions for these practices. So, but today, you don't have to make any special offerings to me, and you learn about this practice. You're very lucky. You're extremely lucky. Should I talk about it? Taiwanese said in Cantonese. If I don't talk about it, you never know. But if I talk about it, immediately you would know. It's very simple, but if it's never talked about, nobody will ever know. So it has to be on the full moon night. So in the middle, between the white and the black night. So on the 15th of the lunar month, this is the first secret. It cannot be done on any other nights. So in America or Canada, the cemeteries are very nice and clean, with lawns, like a park. And you sit in the middle of the park, and then you place this Phurpa or Kila, and you tell the guards there that you're praying to your ancestors here, and you have to get his permission. Of course he would give you the permission. So place this altar there, and then place some flowers, incense around it, incense, flowers, lamps, tea and fruit. 5 offerings. And also buy some cookies, crackers, and also the spirit money. So it has to be environmentally conscious. The paper money that comply to the environmental code. And on the full moon, the 15th of the lunar month, in the middle between the white and the black nights, when the moon is fullest, set up the altar and ask permission first from the cemetery god that you would pray to your ancestors or something. And also place lots of cookies, crackers around it, like in circles, many layers. And prior to that, you have completed 100,000 times of the Vajrakilaya mantra. And then at that time, you only need to recite 1,080 times. And then the 5 offerings of incense, lamb, flowers, fruit and tea. And then get the dew on the grass of the cemetery. So the dew are very clean, and place it on your eyes. Then you would be able to see ghosts. Whether they're like this, or like this, or like this, doesn't matter how they look. That's fine. Don't worry, don't be scary. Don't be scared. They came because Vajrakilaya is here. He has the power to let them appear. They could only appear to you by the power of Vajrakilaya. Then whenever you see one, give them a cookie, and the next one another cookie, and tell them, please make a vow to help me to be rich. If another one coming, and give them another one, and just continue giving them as many as they come, hundreds or thousands of them. And then after you finished all your offerings, you pack, and then you go home, and starting tomorrow someone would give you money. Immediately you would have good luck. Whatever you want to earn, you would get. Whatever you do. So this kind of method, Dharma practice, has never been told in this world before. Have you heard of it before? No. Now I've told you. And the Bardo deliverance Dharma practice is with the sand from the cemetery, and anyone that had been sprinkled on would become your helpers, supporters. So helping them and helping you at the same time. And next. It's to dispel the black magic. So on the last half of the lunar month, and on the true day, the dispelling day, and then take a 7-inch long of the wilted leaf from the cemetery, and then write the name of the enemy. And on the lunar calendar, there are many different day specification. And then you do the homa and make offering to Vajrakilaya. And then on the Cheng, the success day, I'm not sure about the success day, but then you sprinkle the sands on the cemetery, and they would be able to go directly to the Pure Land. That's the Bardo deliverance method. And the other one is dispelling the curses, and the third one is to become rich and noble. So these are the 3 secret practices of Vajrakilaya. Is it clear? Did I miss anything? Yeah, do you have any question? So this evening, please eat more. So have the gratitude dinner is tomorrow, right? So please come and let's dine and eat more. His Holiness is speaking Cantonese. I am not the first of all people, and I'm not the last either. I know of a lot of tantric practices, and these 3 secret practices of Vajrakilaya are very rarely found. If you are poor, you can change your poverty into wealth and into nobility, and you would gain higher positions. Or if you have adversities at your work, these 3 Dharma practices would be able to help your career. These are good methods. I'm just in the middle. I'm not the greatest, but I'm not the smallest. I'm second. Someone asked a kid, this is a joke, why can I only say that my daughter that I look like you and dad, but not dad you look like me? And the dad said, oh, so who's first, dad or daughter? And the daughter said, of course daughter first and then dad. How come? How could that be? And then the daughter said, because you only become a dad after I'm born, right? So is dad first or daughter first? Now think about it. So daughter first and then dad. Someone's dead. And he did not want to forget about his past life. So he did not take the drink, the ambrosia. And then in the spirit world, he met the guard, and the guard asked him, so did you take that ambrosia that make you forget about the past? And then he said, of course I did. And then the guard said, well, you remember, so you must have not taken it. So you should take it, because if you take the ambrosia, you forgot about everything in the past. So even Ge Taiming, the richest guy in Taiwan, he forgot what he did in the past lives. He learned about this, the get rich Dharma practice of Vajrakilaya from me. So you should remember, if you do this practice in the future, whether you remember it or not, you would become the rich and the noble. If you're not becoming a wealthy man, then you would become a president. I promise, at least you would become a premier. So you would become the highest in these practices are considered the convenient or skillful means. In Tantrayana, there are many of these convenient methods or practices, and they're quite convenient for Chinese, but not for Caucasians. This Fangbian word, the word convenient or Fangbian, which also means many other things in Chinese. This is a joke. Because Fangbian in Chinese means convenient, and at the same time also mean going to the bathroom. So this is the Fangbian word in Chinese, which can be very confusing and ambiguous for the non-Chinese speakers. This Dhamma practice are convenient or Dhamma practices, but they are true. This is the mantra. You may recite Om Vajrakilaya Sawa Pikanen Pang 100,000 times. Complete that, and then whoever you meet, and if you recite this mantra and point to him from the back, not from the front, and then you say, I command, give me this, give me that, give me a raise. Please give me a raise. And then the next morning, all of a sudden he signed a promotion, a raise in salary. And then you would be promoted to become the director or the ambassador of the council. So good areas like Canada, America or Europe, not in Africa, that would not be a good place. You can even become a president. So that's this joke. I'm a president, everybody has to listen to me. And he went to a doctor, and oh, this is in the mental hospital. Who told you that you're president? And he said, God told me. And there was another mental patient walking by, and he said, hey, I didn't tell you that you're the president. He thought he was the God. So by doing these practices, you would gain great power. That if you want to become a big official, then you can do this practice. Or to become really wealthy and become a nobility. If you have attainment in this Dhamma practice, you would become a sage, and you can even go to the Buddha land, or you become a very wealthy person. So typically in Tantrayana, that first you can become a Buddha or Bodhisattva directly. Second, you go to the Buddha land first, or go to the heavenly realms. And third, you're being reborn, reincarnated to become a really wealthy and noble person, and with compassion you help all sentient beings. So those are the three paths of Buddhist path. First is directly to become Buddha or Bodhisattva. The second level, you go to the Buddha land or the heavenly realms. And the third, you become a wealthy and noble man with compassion. So these are the three paths in Buddhism. So that in the future we should stay on these three paths. Never abandon these three paths, otherwise you would fall into the 6 rebirth realms, the 3 lower suffering realms: hell, hungry ghosts, and the hungry ghost. And at least you should reach the 3 higher paths above. So the 3 secret practices of Vajrakilaya. Anything else? That's already clear. So we should be happier, okay? Because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Really. I'm not making a prediction that something will happen tomorrow, but we should be happy. When we live for this day, we should be happy on this day. Why? Because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. That's why you should be happy today. And the ways to be happy, you have to be happy every day. And you have to live a meaningful day every single day. Because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. There are 2 patients with severe sicknesses. Well, I was driving around yesterday, and there was a sign in the front. I didn't see that, and it said that there is the wind above, and then it fell. That's why I'm telling you to be happy. And the other patient said, there's a windstorm in the front, and please turn around. But he did not see it. Huh? And him and the car went in. So that's why I'm telling all of you, you should be happy this day, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. That's all for today on my Om Mani Padme Hum.